If you're planning to retire near Houston, don't pick a suburb based on what looks nice online. I pulled the actual data on where retirees are moving in 2026 and the results surprised me, even me. Some of the most popular retirement suburbs everyone's talked about barely making the list. Here's where people are really moving and going and why. Now, before somebody comes after me in the comments, I want to explain what I mean by the data. There isn't a little government spreadsheet that says, here are all the retirees who moved to Houston in 2026. I wish there were. It would make my job a whole lot easier. What we can look at is the newest census population data, domestic migration patterns, how large the 65 and over population is in these communities, and what I'm seeing people prioritize when they're planning this next chapter. And once you put all of that together, a pattern starts showing up, especially north of Houston. Hi, I'm Jamie Graves with the Graves Realty Group with Epic Realty, and I specialize in helping people relocate, retire, and downsize throughout the greater Houston area. And one thing I tell people all the time is this: don't start with the house. Start with the life you want to live, because the prettiest one-story house in the world isn't going to make you happy if you're 45 minutes away from the people, healthcare, activities, or lifestyle you actually wanted. So let's get into it. Number 5 is spring. Spring gets searched a lot, and I understand why, because you've got access to Houston, you've got established neighborhoods, newer areas nearby, restaurants, shopping, and plenty of different price points. But this is where the data gets interesting. About 10.2% of Spring's population is currently 65 and older. And that's not tiny, but compared with some of the communities we're getting ready to talk about, it isn't leading this list either. And Spring is one of those areas where you have to know exactly where you're buying. One neighborhood can feel completely different from another. You can have an established neighborhood with great trees on one side and then drive a little further and be around newer development. So for a retiree, I would not just say move to Spring. I'd want to know what you actually want. Do you want restaurants close by? Do you still need access to Houston? Do you want a newer one story? How much driving do you want to do? Those questions matter more than the word Spring on the mailing address. Number 4 is Pearland. Pearland's another area people bring up all the time, and for good reason. It can be very practical, especially if staying connected to Houston is still important to you. The latest census numbers show about 12.3% of Pearland residents are 65 and older. That's higher than Spring. And Pearland has another advantage that becomes a much bigger conversation when you're retiring. Location. Being closer to Houston and the Texas Medical Center matters to you. Pearland deserves a look. And here's what I want you to think about. Retirement isn't always about getting closer to everything. Sometimes it's just the opposite. People tell me, Jamie, I've spent 30 years fighting traffic. I don't want to do that anymore. Fair enough. You're ready for more space, a slower pace, or something that feels further removed from Houston. There are communities further down this list that make more sense. Before we keep going, if you're planning a move to Houston or one of the surrounding suburbs, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I share videos all the time about relocating to Houston, downsizing, retirement, new construction, and the communities you really need to know about before you make a move. And if you're coming in from out of state, I've also put together a free Houston relocation guide just for you. You can grab that from the link below. It'll help you start getting familiar with the Houston area before you ever get on a plane or spend a weekend driving all over town. All right, let's keep going, because the next few areas are where this gets really interesting. Number 3 is League City. League City is where the lifestyle starts changing. The latest census numbers show about 13% of the population is 65 and older. But League City isn't just about age demographics. For some retirees, being closer to the water is the whole point. You're in that Clear Lake and Galveston Bay part of the Houston area. Boating, marinas, waterfront, restaurants, weekend trips towards Galveston. It has a completely different feel than going north towards Montgomery County. And that's why I keep saying there isn't one perfect retirement suburb for everybody. If you dream about spending Saturday morning near the water, League City may be everything else I'm showing you. But if you're looking for quiet acreage or you want the hillier wooded feel you get north of Houston, this probably isn't going to be your first choice. Number 2 is Conroe. Now we're getting into the area where the numbers really start catching my attention. Conroe sits in Montgomery County, and Montgomery County has been growing like crazy. The county's estimated population reached more than 781,000 in 2025, which is roughly 26% higher than its 2020 population base. And this isn't just births adding people. Montgomery County also has been one of the county's major destinations for domestic migration. That's people moving in from somewhere else in the United States. Conroe itself has 65 and over population of about 13.2%. And when you actually spend time around the area, the appeal makes sense. You have Lake Conroe, you can find communities with amenities, you've got newer construction, there are one-story options, you can get more breathing room, and you don't necessarily feel like you're living in Houston. For somebody retiring from California, Illinois, New York, or even somebody leaving the middle of Houston, that change of pace can really feel good. But there is a trade-off. You're further north. So if your kids live in Sugar Land or Pearland, don't just look at a map and think, oh, we're all in Houston. Houston does not work like that. That can turn into a very long family dinner commute. Map the places you're really going to use. Number one is the Woodlands. This is the one I would put at the top based on the combination of migration patterns around it. It's established older population amenities and the lifestyle retirees keep asking me for. The Woodlands, it's about 14.9% of the Woodlands population is 65 and older. That's higher than Spring, Pearland, Lake City, and Conroe, and it's sitting right inside Montgomery County growth story we just talked about. But numbers aren't the whole reason this works. The Woodlands was built around lifestyle. You've got trails, shopping, restaurants, golf, community amenities, medical care, and you can live in a suburban setting without feeling like every little thing requires driving halfway across Houston. For somebody moving out of a big two-story house and saying, Jamie, I want my life to get easier, I understand why the Woodlands keeps coming up. Now, does that automatically make it the best choice for you? No. And this is where people make an expensive mistake. They hear the Woodlands is great, they go online, they find this beautiful house, and they stop doing their homework. Your budget still matters, your taxes matter, your insurance matters, your HOA matters, the age of the home matters, and depending on exactly where you buy, your daily routine can feel very different. So don't just move there because somebody made a pretty YouTube video, including me. Move there because it fits your life. Now here's a bonus. I want you to watch out for Mont Belvieu. I also want to throw in there one community that isn't high enough in the retiree demographic numbers yet for me to put it at the top of this ranking, but I would watch it, Mont Belvieu. This one is personal because I live here. The city grew an estimated 38% from its 2020 population base through 2025, and that's huge. Its 65 and over share is still only about 10.6%, so I'm not going to pretend the numbers make it a major retirement hub today. They don't. But for people who want newer communities, golf, recreation, a small town environment, and access back towards Houston, I think it's worth knowing about, especially if you don't want to follow everybody else. So here's the takeaway. Spring gives you flexibility, Pearland gives you Houston access, Lake City gives you the water lifestyle, Conroe gives you space, Lake Conroe and the slower pace. The Woodlands gives you one of the strongest combinations of amenities, established lifestyle, older adult population, and growth happening around it. And Mont Belvieu is the one I'd keep your eye on. But I don't want you choosing from this list based on my number one. I want you to choose based on your number one. What matters most to you? Healthcare, being close to your grandkids, a one-story home, golf, water, shopping, a lower maintenance lifestyle. Do you want more land? Because your answer can completely change where I can tell you to start looking. So if you're thinking about retiring, relocating, or downsizing near Houston, comment the word retire below and tell me what's most important to you. My team and I can help you compare the communities and narrow this down before you spend 3 weekends driving all over Greater Houston. And trust me, Houston is big. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and grab my free relocation guide from the link below. I'm Jamie Graves with the Graves Realty Group. Who you work with matters, and I'll see you in the next video.